What's up, YouTube? Another day, another case. And, law enforcement acted up, But the question is today is because I understand that the Nancy case is a very big case because her daughter's of high profile, high visibility. But does this give them a right to just go around violating constitutional rights of citizens because, he's got the same eyebrows on? There has to be a level of respecting constitutional rights. Now, if you say you detain someone, right, you need to tell them why you're detaining them. And you need more than just similar eyes. You need a bunch of stuff to say, okay, I'm detaining you. Just if you detain everybody you think that potentially look like someone, damn, you're gonna get off. That's like millions of people. So this is where I don't agree with law enforcement doing these unstructured attacks where they're just coming up on people, telling them out, taking their property, going in their home without probable cause. Probable cause has got to be more than your eyes look similar. You have to be sure. You need to be 100% sure that this is the guy, or at least somebody said this is the guy. You need more. You need corroborating evidence to say, hey, let's detain this guy. Just to detain. And then you end up taking him down to the station. You handcuffed him. You took his property. All this is a violation of constitutional rights. And then you released him. Now you look like you're picking on somebody. And this, I think America, the police force got this bad. They get overzealous, right? They get a little excited, and they do impulsive type of things. This is what happened in the Kohlberger case, right? Same thing. They railroaded that guy. Some guy felt like that was a similar car, but didn't know that there's a whole bunch of those cars, and they end up, putting the case on the guy. But this is a testimony. This is a testimony that America needs to be more in tune with their constitutional, or they need to be more in tune with the Constitution. It still exists. You cannot take away the Constitution because you feel or think something is something. This is not some game. People are out here trying to hustle, make a living, live their lives, and law enforcement just feels like they can just disrupt somebody's life because they're going on an impulse, an instinct. And this could be, very problematic because you're now talking about violating someone's constitutional right to live their life in this country, what you wrote, what your forefathers put together. And I don't agree with the legal system to say that they have a right to violate violate people's constitutional rights because they want to get a case or they want to prosecute someone, the constitutional rights are in place from the time you approach all the way to the time you convict. And then after it just never stops. You know? I understand there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure on this type of case. I understand that all eyes are on you, but you got to keep it respectful. You got to respect the constitutional right. You know, you just going about pulling people over, taking them out their car, taking their phone, going in their house without their permission is disrespectful. And these same people who do these acts will be upset, will be furious if this happened to them. It'll be furious.
You describe what happened to you.
Terrifying. Something I didn't do for something. I was being like, I felt like I was being kidnapped, bro, because they didn't tell me anything at the beginning.
And investigators showed up to this house, or were you?
And he, once again, he said he felt like he was being kidnapped. You know, this is what's up, Paul, with games. Welcome to the show. But yeah, they violated this man constitutional right. He didn't have any hard evidence to stop this guy and do what they did. Now, if they want to ask him some questions, they should have asked him, sir, do you have time to see if he's willing to cooperate and help with the questions you have to ask? But you just pull him over, pulling him out the car, cuffing him, take him down to the station, question him, take his phone, go in his house without his permission is a violation of the U.S. American Constitution. All this was a violation. And I understand, Nancy, once again, I understand they want to find her. They want to get the guys. But it just doesn't give you a right to go around violating other people's rights. It doesn't. I'm sorry, it doesn't.
You're the one who's pulled over in the traffic stop.
I was the one that was pulled over at the traffic stop.
Where was that?
Right here on by Chubasco.
Okay, and you were taken into custody at that point?
Yeah.
And you were
I was being detained.
Detained, okay.
I was detained the whole time.
Okay,
That's
where?
what they told me.
Where were they
At
holding
the
you?
back of a car.
Back of
a
a car.
Marana car, and then they moved me into a Pima County Sheriff.
Were you being questioned in the car?
At the Marana car, I was being questioned, but they only asked me for my first name, my last name, my date of birth, and my social.
Okay. What were they asking you about?
And we have to understand, we have rights. Did they Mirandaize you? Because one of your Miranda rights, if they were the Miranda right, they would have said, you have a right to remain silent. That's a Miranda rights is part of American citizens' rights to have. You have a right to remain silent. So that means if I ask you, sir, would you like to answer the question? You say, no, I want to remain silent. They have no right to arrest you or take you down for anything. You, once again, unless you got a positive ID and at least a 98% match on a fingerprint or maybe the car description, then you can make this type, you can exercise a stop. But just pulling somebody over randomly because you feel like or you think is a violation of the American Constitution.
Where my whereabouts.
Okay.
Where did I work? Where was I and all that? But
Are you ever up in Tucson?
Yeah, I work in Tucson.
What do you do?
GLS, deliver packages.
Okay. Do you think you might have delivered a package to Nancy Guthrie's house?
I don't know. Might have been a possibility. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you ever deliver like Amazon packages or anything?
Well, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah. So do you think you may have? Did they indicate that you might have been on her property? You're not sure.
Nah, they just came up. They until right now, all I know is that they show my in-law a picture of somebody wearing a mask or something, and they supposedly look like my eyes.
Right. Okay.
That's it. That's all I know.
Okay. Jeez. How do you think they connected that case to you?
I'll go ask them, bro.
Okay. So
that's something you gotta ask them. I can't answer that question.
Did they take anything from your house tonight?
Nah, I don't know. All I can say is they took my phone.
Took your phone. Right. You don't have your phone right now. No. You were apprehended.
Took the phone that he pays the bill on. You don't pay the bill on my phone. You don't know if I'm the guy. You're not sure. You're not even 1% sure that I'm the guy. Why are you harassing me? This is a form of harassment. And this is the most important time that you got to exercise your rights. You got to know your rights. They get to run it up on you like that. Hey, man, I want a lawyer. I need a lawyer. Because these questions they ask you can trip you up, and then they can use your words against you later on. They go, oh, well, you said this. And boy, the way they can manipulate the law and your words is pretty deadly, pretty lethal, man. And I would advise anybody, if they ever pull you over like that, to exercise your right to remain silent, and you like to speak, you like to have a lawyer present if they're going to do this on your time. That's if you want to cooperate. If you don't, then you say, I'm right to remain silent, and I do not want to talk to you guys. Don't make me a victim, or don't make me someone who you think did something and don't have nothing to back it up, and expect me to just, oh yeah, let's play along with this game, because this is how people get tripped up. This is how people get evidence planted on them. These type of practices are, in my opinion, make you no better than the criminals. Because sometimes people just want a conviction. And that's too much, right? That's not, to me, I know you want a conviction, but you have to follow by the rules. You have to follow the rules, the ones you put in place in your Constitution. Miranda rights, the Constitution, all that implies.
Any suspects identified, but they're pushing this video out there. They want eyes on, as we've seen in past cases, any little detail that someone can look at, even down to how someone walks, their gait, could actually trigger a tip from someone out there who might know this person. And then finally, we're hearing from Savannah Guthrie herself that she's saying that the family does believe that Nancy Guthrie is still alive, Kate. And they also say that they're confident that someone out there knows who this individual on the video is. They want to hear from you. They want anyone with tips to call law enforcement at 1-800-CALL-FBI.
What else are you hearing is going on behind the scenes that the FBI is doing in order to try to identify the kidnapper?
So in addition to pushing this out and enlisting the public with their assistance, essentially crowdsourcing this investigation, we know in past cases that authorities would be looking at every single item on that person in that video, the mask, the clothing, the backpack that this individual had. And what they'll typically do is actually try to determine, well, where were those items actually sold? We've seen in investigations that authorities, if they're able to identify, the brand, they can at times find out where it was sold, go to the retail store, perhaps try to get transaction financial information as well. That is meticulous. It's tedious. It takes time in order to do, but that is certainly something that is going on behind the scenes right now. And I think that we can expect to see, additional law enforcement, coming forward and additional resources. We know the FBI has surged resources into Arizona as they try to search for Nancy Guthrie, not only the forensic search, around the residence, but also trying to field all these tips that they now say are coming in.
Yeah, and they have said that after releasing this surveillance, this video from her home, they have seen an uptick in calls and tips coming in. But again, they still are putting that FBI tip line out there. If anyone sees anything, recognizes anything in this video, to please call. John.
All right, with us now is the former Deputy Director of the FBI, CNN Senior Law Enforcement Analyst, Andrew McCabe. Andy, this obviously is a still from the video that really changed the nature of this investigation yesterday. I want to take it down for a second.
A scene. Investigators were at the house until a few hours ago, and CNN spoke with a woman who said it was her home that they've been searching.
I don't know who she is. I don't know anything about her. They only said that they gave a tip that she was in my house, and I told them, you can go in and search the house. There's nobody.
A source tells CNN authorities still do not know where Nancy Guthrie is. Joining me now is Derek Gaunt. He's actually a former hostage negotiator. He's the co-author of Fight Less, Win More. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Audie.
So before we learned that this person was detained and released, FBI Director Kash Patel told Fox News this about the investigation.
We are going to interview and interrogate absolutely every single person that we think is involved with this or has information related to this. And we're going to use all of our capabilities without divulging them to advance this investigation.
What do you make about how this is playing out? The few people they have reached out to, for this example, have been released.
Yeah, on these types of red ball cases, and this is the reddest of the red ball cases, you're going to get quality leads, you're going to get cruddy leads. Sometimes your quality leads turn into cruddy leads. And the fact of the matter is all of those leads have to be run down. Some of them pan out, some of them don't. And this is obviously ones that did not pan out.
I want to talk about the ransom notes for a moment. They've still not been verified. Most Americans aren't familiar with this kind of abduction. Can you talk about the role of ransom notes and the way that it's been playing out in this case?
Sure. Kidnapping in the U.S., very rare. Ransom notes, very rare. The problem with ransom notes is it's hard to establish their validity because this is a high-profile case. And there are people who want to insert themselves into this case, whether they actually are involved or not. So it's very difficult to determine whether a ransom note is real or not. They're still working around the clock to try to determine that, but it's an uphill struggle to actually determine whether or not they are real, whether or not they can tie them back to a suspect.
There is so much interest in this.
And then using that tells me he's not sophisticated. He may have planned it somewhat in advance, but he was not some calculated person that was thinking ahead of the game and thinking, what can I bring to dismantle this on this camera? So definitely not a criminal mastermind, in my opinion.
There was a deadline on Monday that has come and gone. Can you talk about what you're listening for now from investigators or from even law enforcement like Kash Patel?
We haven't yet even seen the authenticity of the ransom demands, to my knowledge. And I know that the family has come out and tried to openly communicate with whomever has their mother. But until the FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Office make sure that these are valid letters, we really can't pass judgment on them yet. So I'm going to be waiting to hear from Kash Patel and the FBI, because I know that they are leading the ransom demand investigation to see if we think these are in fact true ransom demands.
We're also hearing about recent activity with the Bitcoin account used by the purported kidnappers, including like a deposit into a cryptocurrency wallet.
So we're taking a look again at some of the freezes from this 44-second video on the screen here. You can see the individual identified. A lot of people talking. We can't really draw with the way this is set up. You can see a lot of people talking about his gloves. There's the mustache. You can see right there through the ski mask. Other things people are looking at, the backpack, right?
And this is where law enforcement has to be very aware of other people's rights and constitutional violations that they're doing. Because you just don't go around just jumping on people because you feel or think maybe, maybe not. This can be very problematic, because you got a lot of people, that are moving and living their lives, and you don't want to disrupt it and create a psychological, it's just too much, right? It's just too much. You need to know for sure. You need to understand the Constitution does exist. The Constitution does not go away because this is a big case. And that's what it means. Constitution stays in place. Constitution does not disappear because, we think it's you. You look like you got the same eyebrows and the same eyes. You need more than that. You need corroborating evidence. You need to understand that if you stop somebody because you may think they look similar, you should ask them, may we question you? You don't force yourself on them. You ask them. If they got a right to deny your request. Miranda, do you have a right to remain silent? And then, if they want a lawyer present, they want to help answer your questions, they have a right to have a lawyer present. People, do not let law enforcement trick you, man. Get a lawyer. If they pull you over, get a lawyer present. Have a lawyer present. So that, your words don't get tripped up. Have a lawyer present if they pull you over and stop you and question you. You have that right. You have a right to a lawyer present when they're questioning you. So if they pull you over, some random shit, make sure you say, hey, I want a lawyer present. Don't just go off answering questions and say anything, because they'll trip your words up. Law enforcement will trick your words up, twist your words. Next thing you know, you don't even know what's going on. You're locked up. You've been charged. The system is very aggressive, and a lot of times there's pressure on these law enforcement officers to get a conviction. And a lot of them do anything to get a conviction, even though they know you're not the guy. They don't care, right? Judges are trying to get elected. Sheriffs are trying to get elected. So they're moving, very recklessly out here at times. And you have to watch your back. Do not let law enforcement trick you into or pressure you into these situations. You have rights. The Constitution does not end because they think something. That's the way it goes. And you got to understand, this is a country that, promotes constitutional, rights. You have a right. You have a right to a lawyer. You have a right to remain silent. Right? All those are rights. All those are rights. You have to be able to understand you're an American citizen. And the Constitution applies at all times. Always. Because law enforcement gets it wrong. They get it wrong a lot. They get it wrong a lot.
News, an individual has been detained in connection with Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. David, this development comes on the same day the first images of an individual approaching Nancy Guthrie's home were released, and as authorities continued to search in and around this neighborhood where her home is, we saw them searching a drain pipe, conducting other investigative steps today. But the breaking development here now, David, an individual has been detained for questioning in connection with the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie.
Aaron, stay with me here. Aaron with us live from Tucson. We can show the audience the video now of the person, the subject that the FBI had released video of earlier in the day. This was the first time we had seen a development of this scope in this case. Someone at the door. This was video retrieved from that Nest camera after the FBI worked directly with Google. And Aaron, just to be clear here, this person detained in connection with the case, authorities are not saying if it's the person that we see in this video. They're also not saying this is a suspect. They're simply saying at this hour, a person detained in connection with this case.
They are only saying that it's an individual detained in connection with the case, not calling the person a suspect or a person of interest, not saying there's any connection at this point with the images that were released.
Why you take my phone? Why you take my phone? Who gave you the right to take my phone? Who gave you the right to go in my home? Why are you asking me all these questions? I don't know. I don't know who Nancy is. I don't know. I'm just going to work. Leave me alone. I have a right to refuse your predatory behavior. Law enforcement will bend the law. They will bend the law to get this right. They will bend the law. We learned in the OJ case, right? How the officers were planting evidence, all these things, right? They were putting the glove, they put blood on things. They created a case to make a case. We learned this from the OJ case, that they will plant a case to make a case. Law enforcement has a history of trying to make a case as they go. Plant evidence, twist your words up. This is what law enforcement has a reputation of doing. I don't know why we don't acknowledge this, that law enforcement has been known to violate constitutional rights. That they have overstepped their bounds because there's a lot of pressure on them. But pressure does not justify disrespecting the Constitution. Just because I look like, that don't mean I'm them. Just because someone is similar doesn't make them the person. But if you want to pull them over and then question them, you should ask them, hey, do you have time for these questions? You must give them the right and you must respect their rights, their constitutional rights as American citizen to answer or cooperate with anything you have for them. And that's fair. That's fair. That's the way you wrote it. And you can't rewrite it. You must adhere to the same rights that you want people, you want people to respect your constitutional rights as officers. But I think the American people give the police too much, man. I think the American people give law enforcement way too much rope. I really do. I don't care. I think, you got a lot of people been Innocence Project. A lot of people been getting cases put on them. Can't trust them. I understand it's all that we got, but you still got to hold them to a standard. You still got to hold law enforcement to a standard of professionalism. I mean, nobody wants to have law enforcement go around shooting people, right? Or just arresting people randomly, right? We want them to be professional, corroborate the evidence. Because you stopping somebody that you think could have let the guy who really did it get away. Drove right past you. I mean, come on. Got to keep the rights in mind that people have rights that this government, American citizens as well, believe in. If you don't, hey, just take the fucking Constitution away then. Free for all then. Free for all. What's the point of the Constitution if you're not going to exercise it? You have to have a level of respect for the Constitution for this to be a genuine and authentic search. Because you guys, the Constitution is real. It exists. And I understand people want convictions. Oh, this old lady, she's been kidnapped and da da da. We're trying to find her. I understand that. I understand. I'm aware that there's a big case here. But it does not give you the right to disrespect me. Take my phone, go in my home and go through my shit, and you don't know if it's me or not. I still have constitutional rights as an American citizen. I am not an animal. I am not a dog. I'm a human with civil liberties. The Constitution is what this country put on. They put it there, and this is what they need to acknowledge and respect. And I don't know why American citizens seem to forget until it's them. Everybody forgets. Everybody forgets until it's them. Everybody oh, yeah, Constitution. Until the police mess with them, then they want to know, hey, I got rights. But you got to start somewhere. You got to have a level of accountability for these law enforcement to stick to the rules, play by the rules that they wrote. That's it. That's all we're asking. Fair. I have a right to a lawyer, and I have a right to a fair trial. What people don't understand, if you ever get detained, arrested, go to court, your trial starts the moment the handcuffs go on you. The moment the handcuffs go on you, your trial starts. And every American citizen has a right to a fair trial. Yeah, it's innocent before proven guilty. That's the standard. Innocent before proven guilty. They won't even let you, when you go to court, they won't even let you plead guilty to nothing right away. They're going to make you plead not guilty because they want the process. They want your full rights, constitutional rights, you to have them. And this is, as American citizens, we have a right to those constitutional. It's the name of the game. Can't pick and choose when you want to use the Constitution. You can't pick and choose when you want to respect the Constitution. You have to respect the Constitution at all times. The Constitution is the foundation on how we communicate with people as law enforcement. That is the foundation of the Constitution. It protects the people from bewildered behavior, people acting on their own recognizance, but it lays a foundation of a professional and respectable act once been arrested, once been questioned, whatever it is that they, law enforcement wants to do, or whatever it is that, even at your job, even in life, the constitutional ways, you have a right for, if somebody fires you, there's the Constitution that protects you from unlawful fire.
Earlier today by the FBI, but law enforcement.
But this new video release, I don't know if this is going to help. Now you got a whole bunch of people talking about, oh, the eyes are similar to my husband. How many people maybe it's probably a lot of people that look similar, have similar eyes, right? So this video to me should not have been released because there are a lot of similar people with similar features. So you're going to have a lot of people looking at everybody looking at everybody's eyebrows and eyeballs. It's going to be a lot of phone calls coming in, hundreds of thousands of phone calls coming in. I know somebody, because he had the mask on. All you got is eyes and eyebrows. So now the only thing that could be of service is his movement, the way he was walking. We'll see how that goes. But man, a lot of big people. That's why. And you see it's already starting. The Hispanic guy is going away. Maybe to get some milk. Next thing you know, he's in a jail cell talking about, you look like the dude. Out of nowhere. They just detained him and they took his phone. Still got his phone. They went in his home. So his home, his grandmother and mother, and whoever's in there had to go stay in the hotel room because they wanted to search the home. This shit is uncomfortable, man. This is going to be a very uneasy type of investigation now that the pictures are out, that video's out, because people are going to be looking at everybody's eyes. You think a girl like you, she looking at your eyes because you look similar. You look similar to the guy on the tape. This is going to create chaos. A lot of people are going to be staring at people. They're going to be profiling, right? They're going to be doing a lot of profiling. And once again, there's a lot of people that have similar features, similar eyes, similar eyebrows. It's going to be that's like a needle in a haystack. But once again, the law enforcement needs to still exercise the respect for the Constitution. That I am 100% standing on. You got to respect the Constitution. You got to. The Constitution is a very
had somebody give a tip that they in my house and we're not nobody. There's nobody in the house.
Officials have obtained a search warrant. They're going to be searching a location south of Tucson where this individual was detained. They're going to be going through that location. That could take hours, and either that search would resolve the matter, and that could be it, or there could be some further development associated with this individual. But right now, the person is not considered a suspect, we're told, only someone taken for questioning, detained.
And with just a few seconds left, Aaron, a search warrant that will play out in the location where they detain this person?
That's right, David. The search warrant is for a location associated with this individual. Specifically what it says, what they're looking for, has not been made clear.
All right. Aaron Katursky, our chief investigative correspondent, reporting at this hour. A person has been detained in connection with the disappearance of 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. Of course, the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. The whole nation has been praying for days that there would be a development that would bring Nancy Guthrie home. We'll continue to follow this. For those of you in the West at this hour, we're just about 3 minutes away from World News Tonight. More at abcnews.com. I'm David Buer. Good night.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
The bottom line is know your rights. Know your rights. Hold them dear to your heart and know how to use them. Do not let them bully you because they want something done. If you're innocent, you're fucking innocent. You're innocent till proven guilty. Bottom line, protect your rights. Know your rights. America, know your rights. Understand that everybody's entitled to their constitutional rights. And I'm in the stream. Thank you for coming. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. And I'm out.